This is ContinueCast.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the ContinueCast, the twice monthly podcast where we play a video game and tell you if we would continue or game over. My name is Paul.
My name is Paul.
There's two Pauls on the show now?
I just got promoted.
Speaking of promotions,
I'm back, bitches!
yeah, Josh Henderson got his spot back.
Oh, thank God.
Today we don't have Luke Brown because Luke Brown is overloaded with PAX stuff, so...
Butt cancer.
and
Man.
I thought you were going to tell me he was bitch meat. That's what I thought you were going to say.
I bought him for 2 cigarettes.
Luke isn't even special guest today. Special guest today is...
My name's Mike, and I've been promoted as well.
Yep.
Turn the podcast off now, haters.
They're all gone.
Get at me. Get at me.
And then we have a very super special guest. Extra, super duper,
Wow. Way to take a shit on me.
ultra special. More specialer than Mike has ever been.
I'm out of here. I'm leaving. That's it.
Announce yourself. Show yourself.
This and it's me.
This is why he gets ultra, super, extra, double special.
Dude, we're the klaxons.
Hi, Dominic.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good.
Tom, I haven't seen you in 3 days.
I know. That was probably the first time I've ever seen you in life.
I mean, really seen you.
I really looked into your eyes.
Well, we slept about 3 inches away from each other.
Yep. We all just got back from PAX East. We've actually not done a podcast in about a month, right? It's been about a month and a half.
I don't even know.
Something like that.
It's been a long time. We haven't done one in a while because we had a ton of traveling that we just did. And we just got back from PAX East. We all slept in the same room at PAX East. Not a hotel room.
PAX Beast, man.
PAX Beast, dude.
Oh,
You had to deal with those cat beasts,
Dude.
Nick.
Fucking get me started on this cat, dude. I'm fucking sick of it.
More like it.
We stayed with our friend Joe up in Boston, and
His fucking cat pissed on my fucking bed.
Yeah.
Tell us the story, Nick.
Tell us
Tell us the story, because it's kind of ridiculous how it was just walking up to you.
Dude, so we like wake up after the first night, and I'm
Hold
fucking
on.
beat because we've been drinking all night.
Hold on. Preface: Nick Murphy hates
I
cats.
fucking hate cats.
He knew.
I fucking can't. Dude,
The cat knew.
The fucking cat. All cats know that, dude. So like, here's this
They
cat's
do.
like chance to be like a fucking ambassador of his species. He just decides to be a fucking dickhead about it.
Ambassador Took.
Yeah.
Ambassador too.
Oh, I'm on the podcast too. My name is Nick, by the way. I forgot to do that because we were all making fun of Paul before we started,
Ambassador,
and then I did that.
Toonses. And just drives Nick off a cliff.
Yeah. So I'm like sleeping after the first day, and we were drinking all night, and this fucking cat just like rolls up on my like inflatable bed, and
Well, like,
like,
Look at him.
in a 6-foot,
Look at him,
in a Chevy
Tommy.
6-foot.
Yeah,
dude, he just fucking rolls up like strutting his stuff, and he starts like kneading the
Nick,
bed.
I've been intimate with cats
And I'm
for
like,
years,
what the
and
fuck
I've
is this
never
cat
gotten a golden
doing?
shower
And
from
then
pussy.
he like turned his
It's
butthole
funny
toward
because-
me, and then like looks
It's
back,
like the first
and then
time I told the joke, and the podcast didn't
Cats are
totally
fucking
just cut out a second. Like, oh, we're not so happy telling the same joke.
God.
Dude,
Come
like,
on, man.
everyone
this guy fucking just wonders why he's
You're
not
a
special
shout
guest.
out.
and Dom's
Cat's
extra
never done
special
that before.
guest.
Never.
No,
I pulled back
cats
the
have done
curtain.
that
You can see behind. I've been can see intimate our with following. cats for years. Nick, that's never
Gross cat has ever.
I've never.
Lying.
When I caught wind of the story, I laughed because I was like, of course that would happen to Nick.
Yeah, of course it would happen.
Right.
dude.
That's why I laughed.
Of course.
And also the Schadenfreude is priceless. I'm sorry. Like,
Dude, I don't even care.
but
dude.
you're going to be a father. You're going to get peed on all the time coming up soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
but I
good
can
too.
deal with human piss. I can't deal with fucking cat piss.
Cat
dude.
piss is horrendous.
It's just
Yeah.
fucking gross, dude.
It's ammonia pee.
Fucking
It is-
cats in
it's
general, dude.
pure
They're the
ammonia.
fucking worst.
They're lovely.
No, they're not at
They're
all. They're
wonderful.
fucking bitches, dude.
You see what you
No,
always
that's
leave out.
female
Of,
dogs.
what you always leave out of the story is that the cat was coming close to you, and you prodded it multiple
I
times
didn't
to get it to
prod
move.
it. I saw what he was doing, and I was like, "Get out of here,
How did
cat!"
you know
I
he
just
was
like,
gonna
I just
spray
like,
you?
I just fucking like nudged him away. Like I just
No,
like,
you don't.
When a cat shows you its butthole, it's a sign of peace.
Yeah.
no, I saw him like walking on. I was like, "Get out of here!" Like playing with him, trying to
Nick
be
just
nice.
made an air kick motion. Now,
Yeah.
did you kick the cat? Is that what
No, I
happened?
didn't kick it. I just fucking nudged him with my foot.
You should have nudged him
Hey,
with some
Nick,
love.
I don't mean to discredit you at all, but when I get nudged with a foot, I just piss, man.
That happened a lot this weekend.
Nick, I'm sorry, man.
No,
I
whatever, man.
wish you nothing but positive experiences with cats in the future.
Dude, it just sullied everything from now on, dude.
And the bed, too, apparently.
Yeah.
Yep.
I hope you just threw it out.
The
The
cat?
bed?
The bed.
No, why would I
Bed,
throw it
cat,
out?
everything.
We should have thrown that cat out. Why do I have to fucking destroy my belongings? Because this cat's a fucking dickhead.
Well, he lives there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a
Well,
guest.
yeah, I don't care. So he should have. So what? Someone's gonna sleep over my house and be like, "Well, I fucking live here." So psst,
Don't
everywhere.
you pee on your guests when you have them over?
Yeah, man.
I should though.
I remember last time John was sleeping on your couch. You went over and like we're kind of like, John, can I have a hug? And he was like, get out of here. And
And
you
he
just
kicked
ripped
you with
it
his
up.
foot, yeah.
Pissed
Pissed
right
on
in
it,
his
dude.
face, man.
Dude, I guess I just missed the signs.
And it was
dude.
okay, because that's how sleeping over works.
It's the price of admission.
So yeah, we just got back from PAX East. We were doing all that stuff. Dom was there too. Dom was there.
I was there.
Let's talk about what we've been up to since we got back. What have we been up to? Dom, you can start. I know you had something you
Oh
wanted to
man,
talk about.
I gotta tell you, last night, I've been doing the usual work stuff, working on some fantasy fiction T-shirts. shipping them out. You can find it on iTunes or Podomatic. Buy a shirt, guys. And other than that, last night I watched The Running Man, the
on Netflix.
raddest movie.
Dude, that movie's the best.
How rad is it?
It's on a off the chain level. It's 10 off the chains out of 10 off the chains.
Damn.
That's Dom's scale of quality.
Off the chain.
How many
That
chains was
movie-
it off of?
That movie is awesome. I love that movie. You
Yeah,
guys
dude.
like that movie, right?
Dom, isn't it? It's Dawkins in that, right?
Yeah, he's the best. In
Dawkins.
there, yeah.
Isn't that Richard Dawkins, the bad guy?
Dawkin?
I don't know. I don't know actors' names. I can barely remember people's names. So I don't know.
Yeah, he's the
sorry.
game show host.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's so good in it.
He's phenomenal. Stephen King wrote the novel it's based off of.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
He wrote
Cool.
the novel. It's loosely based off because I did the
Right.
research today. The Levittown native, I forget his first name, but Morgan's cousin, D'Souza, the guy who wrote
D'Souza.
Die
D'Souza?
Hard.
The Souza, yeah.
D'Souza, yeah.
Writer of Die Hard,
He
yeah.
wrote that, and that movie is. I read like the plot points of the book, and
Yeah.
I haven't read it. And he also Stephen King wrote it under a pseudonym, but the film is way cooler in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought it was a throwaway for King, wasn't it? Didn't he like not really like the book a lot?
Yeah.
No, I think he enjoyed it. He didn't like the film the
okay.
same way he doesn't like The Shining.
Yeah, but
So-
the thing is, The Shining as a book sucks, and the film is 10,000 times better. So
Yeah,
he might be on to something. Whatever.
you know, I have kind of a good idea. Someone make it better, and then I'll be upset about it.
Right.
But that movie is awesome, and one of my favorite things about that film, and I think you
God.
guys will appreciate that
If he says
as well.
if he says
is
opera singing,
I was like Dynamo.
Dynamo.
Dynamo's the best part of the
opera
movie.
singing dude, that's the best part.
rapey Dynamo.
Rapey
Yeah,
Dynamo.
dude, when
Not
Dynamo
so
goes
much.
to rape the girl and they super murder him
He
instead.
tries to rape her twice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, my one of my favorite things about the film is 80s idea of future television.
Yeah.
It's something that RoboCop does really well too.
Yeah.
But I love it because everything is hyper sexualized and like overly violent on like the
Dog
borderline of like,
money
just like
rope game.
perversion.
When they're like, climb the rope to get money, and there's like pit bulls underneath the guy.
Yeah. And then it's like climbing for dollars. We'll
Yeah.
be right back.
Dude, that
But,
and like Stay Tuned is like where our fucking TV is right now.
Yep.
We're like this close to getting pushed off that fucking Running Man edge.
Yeah, someone's gonna get
Well, that's the
executed on
thing.
TV soon.
If it was okay, if it was legal to kill people on television, it would be on TV because it would make a ton of money.
Well, I mean, I like you said, RoboCop's vision, where it's I'd buy that for $1 because
yeah,
that's what we're catchphrase the nation
not,
right now.
not just that, but everything that happens. We may have talked about this before on this podcast, but everything that happens in the commercials or in the in-betweens in the RoboCop movie that's satire
Yeah.
is like real life for us. Like
Yeah.
the joke commercials about like hospitals like advertising for like heart implants.
Yeah.
In
Right.
the 80s, it's like, how absurd would that be? And those are commercials that are on
Right.
television now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And also satellite dishes nuking half of Los Angeles. Like, you know, whatever
Right.
happens, I guess. But yeah, Dom, that movie's fucking awesome, man. I love Blade.
I also
or
wanna
Running
say-
Blade Man. The
It's
Running Man.
Running Blade Man. Running away from Blades Man. I think that's
That's one of the guys. He has to run away from Blade Man.
one of my favorite things about that film is Jesse Ventura, awesome. But I also wanted to say, I realized while watching that film that Arnold's like golden age of like him being in film, all those films are sci-fi or fantasy. Which is
Yeah.
really interesting because blockbuster films aren't really sci-fi or fantasy that much anymore. I guess except for like Transformers and Pacific Rim that just came out.
Yeah, but they're all CG movies without real stars in them, you know?
Yeah, that's another thing. Like,
Well, that
all
was
those
the
films
heyday
are, like,
of-
super gory. Like
Yeah.
the effects were like real, so
Yeah.
it was gross. But nowadays you're like, oh, it's CG. I'm okay. It's not
Well,
gross.
I miss the days where an action movie, it was like, no, you have to be a real badass in real life so that we believe that you're a real badass in the movie. Whereas nowadays, like, Peter Parker can be, you know, an actual skinny guy, and I know he's supposed to be,
Right.
but like you can grab
we don't
anybody
wanna
and he
see
could be an action hero.
bodybuilder-
What's that?
Bodybuilder Peter Parker.
There was, I'll tell you what, there was a couple 90s movies that like started to tip the scales, but the tipping point for badass protagonists was The Matrix. Because all of a sudden you have Keanu Reeves, this svelte, middle-aged guy, computer hacker,
Yeah.
all of a sudden was the hero of the movie. He was the
Kung
karate
Fu
man.
yeah.
He wasn't...
Kung Fu Judo Man.
Right, yeah, it was like the return to like the Bruce Lee, like the silent badass, like the guy who didn't have to talk the talk or
yeah.
like, you know, come on screen with like gigantic muscles or anything like that. And
Right.
there were movies that definitely preceded that.
RoboCop did that. I mean,
No, RoboCop's
it
enormous.
had to be. He had to be. No, he's nice. He's pretty.
No, he's like
a skinny guy because they had to
tall,
squeeze him in
skinny
that
guy.
suit.
He's got
Robo-
robo muscles.
No, but RoboCop.
Robo muscles.
But RoboCop's presence, nobody cared about Murphy.
Yeah.
Nobody was scared of Murphy. They were
Right.
so not scared of him, they blew him into a million
With a
pieces.
bazillion
They
shotguns.
shot his dick off.
I think like the transition came from like the police procedurals that were like kind of big in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden it was like regular cop guy was the guy. But Dom's absolutely right. There was like that like 5 or 6 years where it was just like, oh, the guy who's the size of the tree trunk, he's the good guy.
Yeah.
And the bad guy is the guy who's the size of 2 tree
It
trunks.
was like wrestling.
Right.
It's exactly what it
like
was.
wrestling.
It culminated in Suburban Commando,
Yeah.
where Hulk Hogan had to fight the Undertaker in a movie.
Right.
But the only films that Arnold plays like a cop are Last Action Hero, which is like a spoof,
Right.
and Kindergarten Cop. That's it, really. That
Which
I
is
can think
that
of.
movie's fucking brilliant.
And twins.
Wait, and no, he wasn't a cop in that. He in Red Heat with what?
I've never seen Red Heat.
Belushi's brother.
I've never seen Red Heat.
He's a Russian cop
Oh, okay.
in Chicago, and shitty Belushi, the other Belushi,
Jim.
yeah,
Yeah.
Jim
Jim
Belushi.
Belushi.
Yeah. He's the partner.
But that's enough
Jeez.
about what I've been up to.
Okay.
What do you guys?
Let's talk more about muscles.
I mean, for the three of us, I know we've all been really busy. We pretty much got back and have just been working on stuff. Nick, you saw a movie, didn't you?
Oh, I saw Pulp Fiction last night.
Yeah.
It was fucking great.
I haven't seen that. What's it about?
Oh, dude, it's great. Okay, so John Travolta comes back, and it's just him hanging out with Samuel L. Jackson the whole movie.
The whole movie?
The whole movie.
It sounds great. Let's go watch that. Watch this cinema. Cool.
No, we saw it in the theater. It was
cool.
super good.
At Movie Tavern.
Yeah, movie tavern.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
That's
man.
rad.
I forgot how much like I love that movie. And it's just so like
good.
it gets quoted so often that it kind of gets everything gets taken out of context when we watch it kind of together. It's like one of those pop culture movies that you're just like, yeah, I've seen that.
It's
And
the
then you
Rocky
watch it and you're like,
effect.
God damn, this movie's fucking
Dude,
brilliant.
Josh is great in that movie.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like you were talking about, Nick. It's like the Rocky effect, where you're like, oh yeah, he punches the guy and then he runs up the stairs and it's over, you know. But it's
Yeah.
a really good film.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
well, I always say that about Forrest Gump, that like it was
Yep.
a great movie when it came out, but now I watch it and it's like a parody of itself.
Right.
You know.
Because all you hear are the
quotes.
quotes
quotes.
from it. But Pulp Fiction, there's so much more to it.
Right.
Oh,
There's
no,
a lot of
yeah,
no,
without a
I'm
doubt,
not
yeah.
saying but to you. I'm just saying like it's and I think it's another one of those things that we have a young friend who's a listener of the show, who's a Continue fan.
He's a
hello,
dumb
Corey.
idiot.
Yeah, he's a stupid dumb idiot. But he was
Wow, this
I
fucker.
believe he hadn't watched it, and maybe he watched it like a year ago or
Mm-hmm.
something like that for the first time. I could be misassigning the story, but and he was like, yeah, I always heard people talk about it, and then you see it, and you're like, wow, it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
And like it's just like so interwoven and stuff.
You get like floored by it. I remember like I used to be
Palm
all
Deal, right?
about like yeah.
That's amazing.
Like Reservoir Dogs when I was like younger and stuff. And then I never seen Pulp Fiction, never seen Jackie Brown. But same thing with the pop culture thing. Like when I was younger, I was like, oh yeah, I've seen it in the movie with the gunshots and all that stuff. Yeah, I've seen that movie. And then I saw Kill Bill, and I went back and watched that and Jackie Brown, and I was like, I have not seen this movie. I've seen fucking pop culture's like dissemination of it, like their distilled version of it.
You know what was really, just remembering being a teenager when that movie was out, everybody said, I'm going to get medieval on your ass.
That's not the line. That's not the line at all.
I know that's not the line. That was the takeaway.
Right.
Everybody, the whole movie was, I'm going to get medieval on your ass. Yeah. And then when you hear Ving Rhames like say that line, you're like, holy shit. Yeah. I mean, I can't even say it on this podcast.
Dude, you watch that movie.
And I'm a notorious racist. I'm just kidding.
You watch that movie, and then at the end of it, you're Rebecca was like, you all right? And I was like, nah, man. No. I'm pretty fucking far from okay. Oh, no. Okay. You okay? I'm pretty fucking far from okay.
Everybody in that movie might be the best they've ever been in any movie.
Dude, and it's so good because, like, so every scene, I used to think that, like, the Christopher Walken scene was just, like, totally in there just as, like, for fucking goofs and laughs and stuff like that. But it really, like, solidifies every character's motivation. It solidifies Bruce Willis's, like, motivation. And those scenes that are in there like that solidify everybody's decision for later on and stuff.
I'd love to give Bruce Willis major kudos for that movie. For I know the billing order is in alphabetical order, isn't it, on the cover, or it might be Travolta and Jackson and then everybody in alphabetical order. But Bruce Willis is last in billing. Yeah, and he's the star of the movie. I know everybody takes away that Jules and Vincent are the main characters, right. But it's Butch's storyline that's the main story.
Yeah, that puts everybody, dude, and that's the thing too. Like, he gets out of that fight.
That's my
no, you're right. That's like the thread throughout.
Yeah, he's thorough.
But he gets out of that fight, and that cab driver picks him up.
Lobos.
Yeah, dude,
she's so good. Yeah. And you're like, this chick is obviously coming on to him. Like, why is he not going? Like, this whole cab scene is like, why is he not going for this chick? He could go for this chick super easy, and then he goes home to like his like woman, and that's when you're like, that's great.
And he gives her oral pleasure.
I want to give you oral
pleasure.
And
then he breaks a rib and talks like a mongoloid.
I want to
that's what she says. I do not talk it.
No, I want to have big pot belly.
He's like,
she's like, I want the pot. He's like, you want some pot? Dude, there's so many clever idiosyncratic moments in that movie
so great
that are not, and also it's the best trailer for a movie ever.
Yeah,
ever. The Jungle Boogie trailer,
right.
The one for the Cans
that.
trailer.
Yeah,
and it like with the record scratch and everything. Like everybody took it from that movie.
Yeah.
It's so great the way it's cut. It's almost cut like a short film,
right?
With the bullet, with the gunshots and everything, and like you can tell it's like edited like on the film.
Yeah.
And the guy who I know this is a story probably everybody knows, but the guy who cut that trailer also cut the trailer for Clerks.
Oh, okay.
Which is the same year.
Yeah, the Miramax kind of thing.
And it was Miramax, both Miramax, and I fucking love that trailer too. That's another.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Salsa Shark.
Yeah,
yeah.
It starts out with that.
I know, I know the way I feel. That song, man. They were so cool. They were just like great little moments in time.
Dude, they were doing it, man.
I miss 1994. Everybody get off the fuck off my back.
Speaking of that year,
it's the best year.
It's the best year, and the game that we're playing today, Demon's Crest, came out in 1994.
Oh my god, transition, professional.
Dude. But the only reason, I had to make that transition because you brought up that year and how great it is and how many times we've talked about that year.
On this show.
93 is a good year too, but
was
93 our favorite year or 94?
94.
94 is the magic year.
I thought it was 94.
94, Donkey Kong Country came out, baby.
Stone Temple Pilots, Purple. Final Fantasy.
The first album I ever got.
3 or 6.
Was Green Day Dookie 94 or 95?
Yeah, 94.
94 is a good
Super
year.
Metroid,
96 was a good year for music too, but I'll stick with 94 all day.
Right. But 1994, this game came out by Capcom. Follow up to 2 games in the series, in the Demons. Is it the Demon's Crest series, Dom?
There's I think the whole story follows a line in the Japanese titles, but it's originally Gargoyle's Quest for Game Boy.
That's it.
Then Gargoyle's Quest 2 for Nintendo.
Yeah.
And then Demon's Crest when they wanted to give it some edge.
And this is actually they gave it some edge. And this character, the main character you play as, is actually a character from Ghosts and Goblins.
Obviously.
Because notable individuals on the development team. Right now we're in the vital stats, just so you know. Boop, boop, boop. Tokuro Fujiwara is the producer. He's best known for Ghosts and Goblins and the Mega Man series, which, when you play this game,
It's a perfect combination of the two.
it's the perfect combo of both of those. And then another notable individual that I had on the team was Toshihiko Horiyama. He's the composer, and he was the composer for Mega Man X and basically all the major Capcom games from then on.
The dope tracks.
What's that?
The dope tracks.
It's
the
got
jams.
some dope tracks on it. It's funny, and time to beat 4 hours. I doubt that. That's for if you're really good, probably. But Benjamin Christie wrote in and had some fun things to say. First off, he said this game did so poorly when it came out that it actually had negative sales for a while because more people were returning it than buying it.
That's not possible.
It's not possible.
That's not possible.
That's not possible. But
How?
Ben, that's some bullshit math if I ever
But-
did hear
yeah,
it.
dude.
That's
But-
that new math.
well, but I mean, it had its sales were reversing.
I know,
essentially.
Ben. I love you. It's okay.
But he said these 3 lines that I said in my head when I first started playing this game, and this game is incredible and super hard. Of course, Dom would suggest this. literally what went through my head while I was playing it.
Oh my god.
This game is
Dude,
dumb
it's
as
a deep
shit.
cut, baby. This is a good game that a lot of people don't know about, and the predecessors are just as good, if not better. I would argue that Gargoyle's Quest 2 is a better
the
game,
Game Boy one,
but
though?
Demon's Crest is a more elaborate game.
Well, the Gargoyle's Quest for the NES was a top-down RPG, right?
Well, it's top-down RPG, just like how this game is, where you travel around ActRaiser style,
Right.
and then
we're getting into that.
So it's like that, but it's much more of like a Dragon Warrior Final Fantasy look because
Right.
it's 8-bit. And then you go into a cave, and then you enter a platforming level.
Right.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Yeah, I think the NES version is better only because it's simpler.
Right.
It fits that style gameplay a little bit easier. But this game is much more beautiful, and the soundtrack is much better. And I don't know, it's cooler. It's harder too.
It does look awesome.
Yeah. That's the first thing that struck me when I started this game up. You see that title screen,
Yeah.
and like the Demon's Crest like writes in on it, and like you see that, and then the first thing you see when you enter the game is you're in this dungeon, and this giant bone dragon walks through the thing, and I'm like watching it, and I'm like, you don't get this anymore.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
This game. I remember looking at graphics like this when I was younger and being like, oh, these graphics stink now. I want to play PlayStation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now I go back and I play these old games, and I'm like, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's completely come back around to being, this is like just good stylization. That's what it is.
The sprites are so tight in this game.
Yeah.
They're awesome. Like this is something that I would go through all of the sprites and just watch their animations because they're great.
Yeah.
We
Like when you die and you like burst and turn into all those bones.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, you fall to the ground and like you're like in like serious pain for a moment, and then the skin sluices off of your bones.
Paul, I know you and I have talked about this before about like pixel art being the height of video games because where video games allow you to like imagine
Right.
that you are the person, you
Right.
get to pretend like with like Legos or something like that, and not pre-made Harry Potter Lego sets like Legos like when we were kids.
Right.
And I know this might be through the tinted, glasses or whatever, like rose-colored dreams. But like you're still able to project a little bit, even as detailed as they are here
Yeah.
and everything. Like the dragon is scary.
Yeah.
Because you're like, that guy, he's fucking scary. He's because you want him
Because he's like 10 times bigger than
Yeah.
you.
right. You
Yeah,
get to
absolutely.
pretend that he is
Right.
scary.
I think there's more immersion in these games than there are in the 3D games.
And like in these pixel games, man, I love them to death. Let me bring in a review show from the outside here. I was watching a review show not too long ago. They were talking about a modern indie game that uses really simple 8-bit sprites. And they were saying the same thing. These guys are about like 3-4 years older than us, and they're like, "Is it just our age, or is this the way video games are supposed to look?" Like,
Right.
did they just get it right with pixel art?
I think so. I think there's some simplicity that's just very, very pleasing to our minds. Do you know what I mean? I think that like some of the best animated like films aren't the ones that look the most realistic.
Right.
They're the ones that just have like the simplest creation almost. Like I look at like Toy Story and like everybody's like detailed, but they're caricatures of people.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're not trying to go for like Buzz Lightyear doesn't look like a person; he looks like a plastic thing. Do you know what I mean? And even the people in like Andy doesn't look like a person; he looks like a cartoon version of a person.
Yeah,
and it stands out, and it makes it better than rather than looking at like Shrek. You know, like the characters in Shrek trying to look like
human
realistic
characters trying
the
to
human
look
look
Uncanny
characters.
Valley at that point.
Right, exactly.
And another analog to this is sort of like with film.
Right.
When it started, was 24 frames because that's the way. I don't know why was it 24 frames.
It had to do with like the projection speed. That's what America settled on.
But yeah, it was like a standard that was established, and it gave it this look. But now we get cameras that we can shoot at like almost any frame rate we desire. We can build whatever, and it's digital. We can project it at whatever, and we have TV shows like soap operas that are shot on these television studio cameras and that are run at these weird frame rates that make it look more realistic, like more.
Like
Luke's
TV,
like
does.
Luke's TV, like smoothing and stuff like
120
that.
frames. Or
Yeah.
right
Can
in
one of
front
us
of
like
your
just like ninja that and just like set it regular?
I would love to. I try to figure
I
it
just
out.
do
when
that. I do
when
that at
watch
people's
games.
homes.
Yeah, I do too. Like, I just like let me just fix this for you because you obviously don't know.
Yeah, but like with pixel art, I thought they were fucking. We're getting into film now. I thought they were fucking around with frame rates way back when, and they settled on 24 because that was the minimum for persistence of vision. Because wasn't a lot of stuff in 18, and it just
There
had,
was stuff, yes.
and it
there's
it
stuff
just
in
looks
18.
a little choppy. It's like a little too sped up.
Right.
It has to do with like it's this weird thing that like so. Not to get into like a whole thing, but like
No, it has to do
like
with the
60,
crystal, right?
60 frames is like what we decided on as 60 frames a second was like our
Okay.
TV standard.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So like 24 just like fits into that
But that was
in some weird way.
50 years later.
Right, and that's why
Yeah.
like that's why like Europe does like PAL and they do 25. Like their
yeah.
TV is 25 and it has to do with like the hertz of our electricity is what
Okay.
what does that.
Right.
But then like the movie stuff, I think it was like more. I don't think it was that's the minimum
I
because
thought
we can
23 and change
perceive
was like the minimum.
You can
of persist-
perceive motion at probably like
right, but
5 or 6.
But for it to be
Right.
seamless, I thought the persistence was. I thought they like tried all the permutations and they got to there. This is really interesting for our video game audience.
But I was
apologize.
trying to make a point with that
Yeah,
though.
I'm sorry,
But
yeah.
I think but people like us and a lot of people still prefer 24 frames per second because that's the movie look.
That's what
That's
movies
the,
look because
that's
for
the dream.
years
That's
you
the
set it
dream
up.
like quality of a movie.
Exactly.
Whereas this realistic high frames per second looks too real, and that's not what I'm in this for. I want to escape. I want to enter this world, you know,
Well,
and I want it to be different from what I normally see every day. And I think that's what pixel art does for us in a certain.
I
to a
agree,
certain
and
extent.
I think that a lot of video games that look really cartoony, they present that because it's that the creator of Dead or Alive used to say this all the time, and his name escapes me, but he would try to excuse why his games are all hentai looking, and they're not anime looking, they're like hentai looking, and
Yeah.
like he would say because the hyper realism lets you know you're playing a video game.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is something to that argument. You're talking about Capcom and everything, like it's probably like Street Fighter looking like a cartoon, or like.
Right.
Like the new ones, they look like a motion painting. It's artistic and stylized.
Mm-hmm.
Or like Mega Man it looks like candy. You want to
Yeah.
eat the game,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and then when they do this later Mega Mans that were like cel shaded and 3D and all that, it just looked like they were trying to flex their muscles or stretch the capacity of the software too far.
There was no soul to it, is what you're saying.
This
There
is why I
was
prefer
just-
the
yeah.
look of World of Warcraft over the Elder Scrolls Online. Like one
Right.
looks dirty and gritty, and like Dom always talks about the piss filters on it. It looks like it's trying to be real, and the other one's
Yeah.
like, hey, this is fun. Come,
Yeah,
come join
Warcraft
the
is
fun.
like
Like,
cartoony.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like a cartoon. Like come play in this cartoon world, as opposed
Right.
to like, well, we're really trying to make everything look really real.
That's
So
what, like,
this
Star
is you
Wars
like
is
walking
like.
around real life. It's not as fun.
Right. I don't know, man. Paul, you might. That might be it. It just may be the 20 years that we set up pixels being associated with video games, and like maybe just in our subconscious. Maybe
I think
the next
I think
generation will grow out of it. But
I think it also kind of like you can appreciate the work that went into it because people like we got so good at pixel art because that was the only way for
Right.
a very long
Yeah.
time.
you're right, Dom.
So
like go
you
ahead.
watch like Fantastic Mr. Fox
Oh, yeah.
versus any Toy Story movie or a Pixar film. You can
Yeah.
appreciate the time and like artistic ability that went into
Absolutely.
the stop motion animation of Fantastic Mr. Fox, whereas Pixar. It looks good, but it's supposed to look good because a computer made it.
Right, and Dom, I think you're definitely onto something. I was about to say, like, I think that's why practical effects to us are so charming.
Yeah.
Like Big Trouble in Little China or like Back to the Future, like those
Dude,
are
like
the thing,
man.
yeah, like those practical effects are like you're like, oh, they're there, or like we had to imagine that was real. Like know it's not real, but you had to imagine it's real. And now, well, everything's like immersed in this like flat
that's
palette
where
of
the
three
magic trick happens anyway, is in your mind anyway.
Right.
And whenever you distill anything down to its like as basic as you can get it with, and still have that magic trick, it's always going to be appealing because there's less lens in between. There's less
filters for it to go through.
So your brain is automatically like, that's real. It just looks real. Or is it?
It's funny because I always feel like there's something more tactile about like pre-source Counter-Strike than Counter-Strike Go.
Right.
It's like
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. They just feel it fell in my brain.
That's interesting because I've played them both recently, and I actually really like Go. I think they captured it pretty well.
Go is the polished, better version. I don't know those sharp polygons.
There's a reason why people still play Street Fighter 2 Tournament Edition or whatever version competitively, because it's still like a very basic like one-on-one game.
Right.
And
I wonder why, like, because a lot of the indie games that are getting made now are going back to styles that hark upon these styles, much more trumped up versions of these looks, but they hark back to these games.
That game you and I were talking about.
We saw
Nidhogg, right?
Yeah, Nidhogg, absolutely. That's an Atari game.
Like 2-bit.
Yeah.
It was one of the main reasons why I bought that
like
Chasm game on the PAX floors, because the the backgrounds in that game were so beautiful.
Unbelievable,
I was like, I gotta play
Chasm's
this.
cool.
I was looking at that game with Shane from Did You Know Gaming, and that guy's an amazing pixel artist, like fantastic. And he was like,
really,
he was drooling over that game
That's awesome.
because it's beautiful looking. And maybe it's like you said, Mike. Maybe it's because we grew up with it, and the people that are making indie games
they're
now
like our age
are our age,
Yeah.
and they're making the games, and they're going like, oh, but I love this, so let me show you. Just like when Tarantino makes a movie, he's like, I love this, so I'm going to make a movie that's this.
That's like this.
So will it like 100 years from now, will people still be making games like that? Maybe not. Maybe they will, because the games they play now are the indie games that are being made by the. Maybe it's just a self-fulfilling cycle.
Right, what's called Inglourious Bastard, Django. Yeah. They were like 70s. They were the movies he grew up 70s exploitation films.
And somebody's going to watch that and then grow up and make it like 30 years from now, make a Tarantino movie. Yeah. And it's just going to, the cycle keeps spinning over and over again, It's
funny Nick mentioned about the cartoons, because a lot of times I feel like emotional content is translated a lot better in a cartoon the further you can distance yourself from the fact that it's supposed to be real. Like, you're there for something other than a world that you're in. Josh and I were just talking about 28 Days Later the other day, and how powerful that movie is, because you never get hung up on special effects or like, you know what, it looks like it's coming apart on the screen.
Right.
It looks like you got a bad version of the movie, and it makes you pay attention.
Right.
It's
you like look at it closer, and you're trying to like analyze. You're trying to like, why does this look different from everything else? Like, what is it about this? Yeah. It's interesting.
Mode 7, baby.
Oh, yeah, so Demon Crest, right?
What did you say, Dom? Sorry, I cut you off.
Mode 7.
Mode 7. Okay. This game,
racing Chrono Trigger.
This game is Dom. This game is all about. I want you to talk about this right after this. This game, I feel like, just throws 90-degree turns at you constantly. So you start off, you start the game, boom. Here's a boss battle right off the bat.
Yeah, I thought that it was a cutscene, and I was just like, "This is going to be great.
This
is going to be really good."
Super murdered.
Yeah, boom, boom, boom. You're dead. And that's just that sets the tone for the difficulty of the game right there.
And you just got to learn right off the bat. Like, this is a good learning stage, because you're like, all right, let me learn what the fuck this does. Like, not double jump flies.
Fly.
Okay, that's nice. That's good.
Yeah. You can drop, but you can't go back up.
Right.
So like I can drop my height a little bit if I want to.
Somewhere between Ghosts and Goblins and Mega Man.
Yep.
Mega Man Super Ghosts and Goblins and Mega Man X.
Yep.
Am I saying the right one? Is it Ghosts and Goblins? Super Ghosts
and Goblins.
There's Super Ghosts and Goblins. There's Ghosts. Yeah. And then after you finish the first level and beat the first like actual boss, you get through all these different. You go through the three. Actually, I guess there's 3 bosses that you beat before you get to this.
Maybe
then
you beat them, huh?
90-degree turn. You're like, okay, this is going to be your standard side-scrolling fighting game with level progression that happens one after another.
And then it's just mode 7.
And you're like, holy shit, I can go anywhere.
Paul and I just both like raised our hands because in the game you do that. You're like your little like minion dude is like flying upward.
You guys went into the Z-axis, just 3D.
So yeah, Dom. I mean, you played this game as a kid. What was it like playing this when you were younger?
Well, when you got to those stages, like I don't know, personally, I always thought that moment was like really cool. But at the same time, you can see like the pixel art looks messy at that point.
The Mode 7
so
part.
like, yeah, so you're just like, it's like I see Firebrand and he looks really good, but like the world looks like it's like stretched out too much. So like it's a little strange, but like it is like I would say even playing it for this show, I did the same thing where I was like, oh shit, that's right, you have to fly around and find these levels. So it's like it's a neat effect that happens, but like I don't know, I think it's good to use some Mode 7.
Yeah, I mean, I think other games used it better. For me, like that Mode 7 part, where I was just like, this is going to get really annoying really quickly,
Right.
and it
Capcom,
did.
Yeah, it was Capcom doing a SquareSoft impression,
Right,
If I may, and not that SquareSoft ever did it great,
Right,
but
right.
everybody just did it the way they could do it.
I would have
Secret of
much
Mana,
more-
Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah,
I would have preferred walking around like Link to the Past or something, like
that
they
would've
do in
been
the other
worse.
games where it's like there's no effect.
It's funny you brought up ActRaiser, because
I never played ActRaiser.
First ActRaiser. I'm going to say my personal top 5 SNES games of all time.
It's a side-scrolling shooter.
No.
No. Top down?
ActRaiser is a top-down strategy game where twice every world, it's a sim where you have to build cities. You're God.
What?
And you have to build cities,
Why did I
and
always think it was a
twice
shooter?
every world
I thought it
there's
was that too.
a platforming level. We should do it for this show. It's an incredible game. Incredible.
Okay.
And tons of fun. It's funny, Dom, that you had mentioned it earlier because I was thinking at that point, I was like, well, this would be a good time for there to be more of an ActRaiser feel.
Right.
You know, maybe that like you're involved in an overworld more. But when I was playing the game, I was dying over and over again playing the game because I was playing on an emulator and the WADs and the what's it called arrows are backwards, or at least I couldn't like adapt to them too well. I did myself a disservice by not being able to play it on a Super Nintendo, and I apologize,
the
Dom.
controller, yeah.
Right, I don't mean to speak ill of the game, but the whole time I was playing it, I was like, you know what? There is a game that's very similar to this. It's not made by Capcom. It's actually ActRaiser 2,
Right.
which was a huge departure from the first ActRaiser, where it's entirely a platforming power-up game.
That's what I associate with
Where
ActRaiser is that. Yeah.
You're a giant, you're an angel,
Yeah.
and you have a sword, and you have a million magic spells, and I think that game did this better.
Is it
more-
called ActRaiser 2 or is
called
it does
ActRaiser 2. I don't know if it was Enix. Enix made the first one. I
what's
don't
that
know if
one?
Enix made the second.
I think does it have like on the cover like a guy at the top of a rock and he's holding a sword and there's like a light beaming on him?
That
Gosh.
might be Final Fantasy Mystic Quest you're thinking of.
Mystic Quest, that is Mystic Quest.
Yeah, that's a different Final. That's like a Final Fantasy for kids. But ActRaiser 2, would it be another one? I would even say maybe we could play both of them because they're so different. from one.
ActRaiser 2 has an angel man staring
Yeah.
at a beautiful
You're God.
waterfall city.
Yep. And so
And says 100% pure action and excitement.
it
So,
is because it's
100. Oh, that's all the percent. Pure.
That's
That'll kill you.
Most
Here's what they
percent.
did. They
Gets
subtracted
you laid.
50% sim. They multiplied action by 2, by 2, and you got 100% action. And like, I liked this game, Demon Crest. I was terrible at it, and I
Right.
definitely didn't spend enough time at it.
There's
But
a
the-
lot of adaptation that you have to do.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, but like just like Super Ghouls and Ghosts, after playing it, I was like, well, I could be playing any Mega Man X game, or I could, or for Super Nintendo, or I could be playing ActRaiser 2, and I just, you know,
Well,
ActRaiser
the
2 gives you all the powers right away, and you get to kill all the things.
You know what's
The
really
thing
tough about
about-
it is it like you shoot and you shoot at a high level,
Yeah.
and then all of the power ups and things you want to break are at a low level.
or you have to turn into the plane.
Well, you get those power ups later on.
Yeah,
Right, which I
is
thought
kind
I
of
did
weird.
not. I did not play enough.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't mean to.
You have to like
speak ill
go
of it.
back and shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
go back
a
to
lot. Yeah,
That's what's cool is it's got... Oh, go ahead, Dom. You've been trying to talk.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say that that's what's neat about this game is that constantly you're trying to play it like a Mega Man game,
Right.
And it keeps
Yes.
telling you, no, it's not, and it doesn't give you lives. You can play as much as you want.
Yep.
But it constantly is saying, stop it. Like, stop trying to fucking run through this game. Knock
Yep.
it off. You got to, hop on this thing, then hop on that thing, then wait for the guy to come down. It's
Yeah. Dom, they do
I-
it right away. Like, the first bit is, you traversing through that, like, graveyard, KKK, ghost thing, like, you're like...
Because when you wall grab, you're like, oh, I'm boss as shit.
You're like, I
Yeah.
can hold on to this
Yeah.
shit.
But-
and then you go to the next part and the things drop. And
Yep.
it's like, hey, shit's good. You're not like it's not like you're gonna have to like
You're not
plan.
overpowered.
Right,
you're
you can't use all your powers all the time like in the Mega Man game.
And and you're gonna have to plan ahead for certain stretches of this, and you're gonna die, and you're gonna have to play this thing over again 50 times just to figure out the proper pattern of
Order,
things.
Yeah, I feel like they had a lot of things that they wanted to do in this game that I don't feel they did correctly. Like the Mode 7, like it's like, oh, that's cool, man. It's just like it just doesn't work right because it's like, hey, level 1, here's level 2, here's level 3, and like you go into this Mode 7 thing, and then you got to like land correctly. Like if you don't hit the fucking thing right, you go back up. You know what I mean? Like you just like.
I feel like that's almost like, hey, we're on an SNES, we have to put Mode 7 in here.
Yeah.
I know that's not a good reason for it, but I feel like they just kind of did it.
They were competing with blast processing, Paul, on the Sega Genesis. Sega do what Nintendo don't. Didn't you see the ads? I'm sorry, Dom, go ahead.
You could have called it something else, right? Like Mode 7 it will be called. And Sega's like, fuck that, we'll call this thing Jizz and Titties. And then people go crazy over it because we can call it anything.
Yeah.
I mean, like, no, it will be called Mode 7.
Dude, Mode 7.
But I feel like
I think there were other modes.
There weren't.
There were.
Get out of my face.
Isn't that like an FX chip or something?
No.
That was later. They were in cartridges.
There are
Yeah,
different
those
modes.
were Star Fox.
Yeah, Star Fox
I
and
see.
Stunt FX.
Yeah.
That was that was a 3D roaming polygon game
Right,
on the
right.
SNES, and it's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's a really cool game.
I feel like the different power ups are great because you're like, oh, now I can break rocks and I can go back and get that other shit, and that's cool. But then like switching between them is just not intuitive at all. Like I wanted like Eleanor to like switch, but it's like no, pause, select this thing, go back and
That's
do
the
this.
worst shit.
That's the really annoying
I don't know how
thing.
you can have that complaint when Mega Man has. That's the same. Mega Man's the same way.
Yeah.
No, totally, but it's just
You
not.
can cycle through your power ups in Mega Man X though with Eleanor.
Abdel
Yeah,
Aziz
you can
Ahmed.
suck my dick.
Fair enough. John wins this argument.
Abdel Aziz Ahmed wrote in and said, this game plays very smoothly, and it complemented the difficulty of the game by being very responsive and simple to use for the most part. For the life of me, I found it very jarring to do the special moves in this game, like the headbutt and speed dash.
Ugh.
I don't understand why they chose such obtuse button combinations when the L and R buttons are completely unused.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. There's two buttons. Like the mappings were weird. I felt like the mappings for certain actions felt backwards to me.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I wanted shoot to be on the what's it YX8B AB or
Okay.
BA? Is that how it is?
See,
Yeah,
maybe-
you wanted YB, like Y shoot, like Mega Man.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
It should be the other way. I just felt like
Right.
it felt just backwards. I don't know if that was purposeful, but
Well, you wanted Y to be shoot or X to be shoot?
X to be
X to be
shoot
shoot
and B to be
Maybe
like
it wasn't
jump.
me with my
Yeah.
keyboard because
Yeah, it would
I
be,
felt
yeah.
like a lot of times I was hitting shoot multiple times and I was like, no, fly, you
Right,
motherfucker. Like, you know what I
right.
mean? I wonder if there's a better emulator than the one I was playing on that would let you map it to.
I think I
a
did
controller
because
better.
when I was playing, I did Y shoot, B
You
jump.
could swap it. Yeah.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
switch it around.
I mean, even for the L and R buttons, like to be able to map those to.
You
Yeah,
probably could.
SNES 9X or whatever it's called. You can map the buttons.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
Mac there's that Open EMU. I played on that, and you can like remap.
You guys
things.
should send that to me. I played it on a
But-
website
but-
called letsPlayNES.com.
Oh really?
or .org or whatever.
Plug.
Super plug, yeah.
But the thing is, even if you remap the buttons, you can't remap the fact that to switch power ups,
Right.
you have to go to
That's
a
the
menu
game
and
it's in
do
the
it.
game.
Right, yeah.
No, yeah, for sure. Like the mapping is weird, and I question, when did Mega Man X come out? Do you know the year?
91?
1990.
91?
this.
Really?
I want to. That's off the top of my head. I could be totally wrong.
When did I say
It was
this
before
come
this
out?
game. I'm fairly certain.
92, maybe?
It was. I'm looking it up right now.
SNES was 89 in Japan.
93.
Shut the
93.
fuck up. Was it 93?
93. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, see, I don't understand why they wouldn't use that mapping, because that's so much better. I guess maybe because all the characters don't have dash and stuff like that, or all the power-ups don't, but it just makes more sense.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That was the only thing I found bad about the controls.
Right.
Otherwise, I thought it was really like pretty tight controlling. It moved slower. It's funny that you said, Dom, that you're not supposed to run through the level. I was playing it and I was like, I feel slow. I feel really
Yeah.
slow. You know,
Like a Ninja Gaiden thing. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, if you go fast, you die.
Yeah.
right?
You're
Yeah.
not supposed to go fast.
Yeah, you're a ninja.
Luke, what did you think?
Crickets.
Oh, he hated it too. It's weird.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
And now for the monster Luke side.
And now for the monster opinion with Luke Brown.
Dan Hareen wrote in and said, "God fucking damn it, Demon Crest, give me some goddamn direction."
Dude, right? You have to play this with a guide.
Yeah.
Well,
Or you need to have the map that it probably came with. I don't know if it
Or,
did. But.
well, if you hit pause, it does have numbers on the different things that you can look at and go, okay, this is level 2, this is level 3.
I'll kill you. Does it have that?
Yeah.
Right? I was like
Nick,
flying.
I'm really gonna
Well,
play
first
this again.
off,
Send me the link that you
I
were
flew
playing
around
on.
the world, which is like
me too,
about
yeah.
like 5 blocks wide. Okay, so I flew around the entire world a couple
the world's like the
times.
size of a grapefruit, maybe, in circumference.
A whole new world was playing the whole time.
Dude, I like overshot World 2 like a million times. I was like, okay, I just fly a little bit, and it's like, oh, okay,
here's the
I
thing
am
about-
on the antipole of this world right now.
Here's the thing about World 2 is it's behind the town.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like in
right.
the dark alley of the town.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well,
go
that-
through town to get to World 2.
Yeah.
That's the problem, and you can't really fault the user for it, but you also can't really fault the game. Is that these games came with booklets, and like, hey, we don't know how to explain this in the game, so we're just gonna tell them they'll have to look in the book and read it. You know, like, oh, press start to bring up your map. Like, I didn't bring up my map. I completely forgot about that.
Yep, and it's numbered on there for where the worlds are. And I remember
Yeah.
when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. Because
Like,
I was,
oh.
when I first started, I was like, oh, I'll just go to all the different spots and see what they're all about. And I'm fighting levels where I'm like, oh my god, I'm not supposed to be here. I can tell that I don't have the power. Like,
Yeah,
you could.
I went
you
to
could
the
probably,
jungle, and I was like, what the?
You
That's
probably
a goddamn caterpillar, hairy cat thing. And a flying eyeball. Where am I?
Yo, I fought that flying eyeball, dude.
yeah,
this
I
game,
feel-
this game is one of those games where I'm sitting there playing. I'm like, fuck, like
You get
fucking
rage,
cursing
yeah.
and raging
You
and
should
stuff
have
like
seen
that.
my face.
I
I
was
was this
God,
motherfucker.
Dom, I was cursing you. I was cursing you sometimes.
Here's the thing: you're cursing me because you need another guy there.
Yeah.
To tell you.
2 6-packs of beer,
Yeah.
Yep.
and you guys are gonna pass the controller back and forth and beat this fucking game because it's hard as nails.
Yep.
You're right.
Yep.
You're right, dude.
That
but
is the
it's-
best way to play this game.
Sleepover
Playing
game.
it by alone, you're like, oh god, why do I even play video games? What am I
Yeah,
doing?
yeah, you start questioning things.
I
Yeah.
could be doing so many more constructive
should
things with my
write
time.
I should write a book.
Dom, can I ask you a question? And I'm not putting you on the spot. And I'm gonna go back to your commenter talking about.
Why
this
did
Put
you
me on
make
the
us
spot.
play
Yeah,
this?
No,
I'm
I'm
just
going
kidding.
back. Yeah, no, I'm gonna go back to the comment about this being a Dom game. Again, this is not an accusation. Did you like this game a lot because it's like demons and like metalish shit?
Yeah.
Like, did you like it because of that? And if you did, was there anything else on the SNES like this?
That's part of it. First and foremost, the games I rented as a kid were like Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Oh,
and The
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Haunting. And The Haunting was like one of my favorite games. I love like horror stuff and demons and stuff like that.
Yeah, you and I used
So-
to talk about that all the time. Those games are great.
Yeah, I love that shit. So like, that's part of it, but also I love Ghosts and Goblins. Like that's
Okay.
one of my favorite games of
Okay.
all time. So to play as the bad guy, it's really neat. I picked this one particularly because I feel like it's the best looking one.
Okay.
But honestly, I think if any of you guys went and put in Gargoyle's Quest 2, it's a lot more linear in terms of like finding your way around. You would have a much better time with Gargoyle's Quest 2. But I picked Demon's Crest just because it's the last one that they did.
Okay.
Yeah, man, I definitely would check it out at some point. I was just curious because I know you like the horror stuff. I know you like demons and wizards and stuff like that and all. And I didn't know if it was just sort of like this checked all the Dom boxes, or if it was I didn't know that you liked super ghosts and goblins and stuff like that.
True that it's all of that, but also like
Oh, it's all
I feel
that.
like this series, it's all of that. I feel like this series as a whole, people don't know about it.
Yeah.
Because it's really good. And as hard as this game is, it's still a real solid game.
This
man.
game's real hard, but it's fair hard. I got frustrated,
Yeah,
but
okay.
I always, while I was playing it, always was like, I'm gonna do it again.
There's
I'm gonna do it again.
There's
It's
always
funny because
something.
you see yourself get better at it because you're like,
Yep.
oh yeah, that thing that used to take me like 2 minutes to get through. Well, now I get through it in 30 seconds because I know.
Exactly.
Dom-
Yeah.
And this game reminded me that, and I don't know why it did, but well, I guess I know why because it's trial and error. But as hard as this game is, you've got the advantage because the computer can only go in the direction and patterns that it has been programmed to. So it's like it's a real test of like man versus machine. It's like, okay, like if you're good at video games, then beat this fucking game. Because if you can't, then the things we programmed to go left and right and up and down beat you.
Right.
You little
point.
bitch.
Good point.
I never played games like that though. Like I never got into games where it was like, here's a test of your patience. And I just wanted to be fucking awesome all the time.
Yeah.
Like I just want to walk into a game and be like, I'm at the party, bitch. Let's fucking do this.
It's funny because I was thinking that I was like, this is a Dom game,
Yeah.
and I was like, why do I was literally thinking about this while I was playing. It was making me be like, why do I like the games I like? And it's because I usually I do like games like this sometimes. Occasionally I like to be challenged. Yeah. Very rarely I like it, but most of the time I like a game that goes like, you're a fucking badass warrior and you're gonna kick ass throughout this entire thing.
Dude, I was saying it earlier, like when I was playing it, I was like, well, I could be playing Mega Man X, and I was thinking like what excess that game gives you, and then ActRaiser 2 even more so, but I thought about like Capcom games of the day, of course Super Ghosts and Goblins and stuff like that, but Josh, I was thinking of UN Squadron, where you're just like, you're a fucking jet, you get all the bombs, and it's like Capcom games were busting out at the time, you know what I mean? It was just like, it was all, it was a party all the time, and this is a slower thinking, difficult game, and
thinking man's
it is, and I agreed. There are times where I like games like this, or I like being good at games like this.
Yeah.
I also think I like to be good at games that are deceptively simple, like a game like UN Squadron, or like bullet hell games where you're like, oh, it's easy on the easy setting and I can kill everything, but this did try. I didn't get to play it nearly as much as I would like to have.
You got to plug in a controller and try it.
It tried my patience on that keyboard. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I played, I played everything.
That's
on
like
the keyboard.
hard.
Mike,
mode.
you and I could beat this game in a night.
Dude,
you would
let's
have
do
a
it.
lot of fun.
You still gotta know where you're going first, because like
Yeah.
the one part is like I was just like walking around. I was like, oh, let me try and. I think someone called it a headbutt one time in a place where I was. Let me try and hit this.
Headbutt?
And I was like, oh, it's a door. Let me go through it. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to fight this blob eyeball monster. That's kind of cool.
Have fun
And
with
then,
that boss.
dude, that boss.
See,
Fuck
now-
that boss, dude.
Fucking boy.
That's the thing about these games, and that's what's really neat about like the Dark Souls, Demon Souls series, is that
I was
there's
just
an
gonna say,
audience for this.
Yes.
Like there is an audience for games that are fucking hard and test you as a human being.
Yeah, dude.
Dom, it's funny,
People
I was
with shit that they don't have to do.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, like, Dom, I was going to say that this totally reminded me of Demon Souls or Dark Souls and all those games. And I know you say, like, people that don't have shit to do, but I got to say, it's really cathartic to sit down with a game like this and for it to kick your ass for a little bit, and then through sheer practice and trial, it's like, it's almost like, I was playing it last night, like, most of my playing time was last night when I played it, and I was sitting down and I was like playing it for this, but I was also like just kind of like I had been editing all day and I was like unwinding and relaxing, and I was like, oh man, this is kind of nice. And like when I got frustrated, I was just like, okay, I got it. I'm just gonna
because you're editing all day, and when you're editing, getting frustrated is a completely different, frustrating.
That's a different
level.
kind of video game.
Well, you're not
exactly.
you're not
this is like-
relaxing. You're going to work.
Right,
This game makes you work.
Yeah.
But when I beat one of those bosses, I was like, oh, that felt so good. And then I wanted the next challenge. Like,
Oh, really? Because
Yeah.
I was like, that seems like a pain in the ass. What the fuck is this next one going to be? And how frustrated am I going to get doing
Like,
this next one?
I don't know. I kind of enjoyed it. I kind of like. I was actually.
Y'all
really
want to Mario float through your goddamn Wii levels?
Yeah, I do.
God damn it, Tom! I wish you were around, man. I wish what you just said like tickled my funny bone. I was like, oh, it'd be great if we could just like hang out,
Yeah, just play the game
get
and
it-
fucking chill.
and just fucking hang out and do this all night. Yo, let me ask you guys. Did anybody ever play the Super Castlevania that was on Super Nintendo? Because I never.
No,
got
I
to
never
it.
played
Super
that
Castlevania 4?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
it's
played
a
it on
great
the show.
Dom,
We didn't play it on
Yeah, we
this.
played it on the show with Dom, yeah.
Played it with Dom. Yeah.
and Dom, what'd you think of it?
I love Super Castlevania 4, but I think it's like technically
Your
a
ex-girlfriend.
remake, but it's a really good game.
All right, yeah, I didn't know like how you felt about that compared to this, because that was something I was like wondering while I was playing it, because I know those games are typically slower and take some patience and stuff. My only experience with Castlevania ever was Symphony of the Night, and
Right.
because that was the game to play, and it was very, very limited.
Yeah.
I somehow obtained a copy of Castlevania 64.
Oh yeah,
Never bought it. Showed up at my house.
shut up
one
your
day.
house.
Wow.
All right.
Yep. I have a pristine copy of Symphony of the Night. I remember I was telling you Nick,
Oh, yeah,
about
yeah,
it one
dude.
time and everything. I was like, someday I'm going to sell this for fucking $1 million.
This reminded me of like Castlevania 3.
That's what. Yeah, maybe it's 3 I'm thinking about, because I never got to play those old ones, and I always wanted to.
3 is the best one on the Nintendo series.
Is that where you have like it's like an RPG and you got to get shit, or is that 2? I'm thinking of.
That's 2. 3
I
is
felt
the
like
one,
this was like 2, where I was
3
just
is
like,
the
I don't
3 is the
fucking
one
know
that
where
is
to go.
billed as like a film reel, and you're watching a movie almost.
Oh, that's cool.
And then as you go through the levels and beat the bosses, you can pick which ones that join your party, and you can switch between those characters. So there's like Grant, who can walk on walls or climb up walls, and then there's Alucard, who has like a projectile.
Oh,
Right.
you know what that reminds me of? That game Mercs, which I think is that a Capcom game?
Mercs is pretty good.
Blah, blah.
I don't
Konami?
think so. Yeah, Konami.
I don't think so.
That
Well,
game was awesome. Where you would
Internet
like,
will tell us what it is.
dude, yeah. Mercs was cool because it was similar to that, where you fought through like the jungle, like the Vietnam type jungle.
I played the
found
arcade,
dudes.
the cabinet all the time during summer. Like,
Yeah.
during summer.
during summer.
Yeah,
You know, when school wasn't around.
I was curious if this is like, equatable at all to like a Castlevania game, having never had played those, but like, were you fans of those games even if they weren't alike?
Yeah, I love the Castlevania games. I mean, it's right up my alley again with monsters and stuff like that. But Castlevania is a different type of game in the sense that it'll make you climb, like you'll go upstairs and jump on platforms and stuff, but not to the, especially the older ones, not to the extent that this game makes you hug onto walls and like wait for platforms to move towards you and then hop on those and wait. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what I really liked about this game. I didn't like the fighting as much as I liked the traversal. Was really fun in this game. Platforming. Like
It's so weird to hear you say that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to be in a certain type of mood for this type of crap.
I agree with that.
Like, you got to be in like a real weird mood.
I know exactly what you mean, man. It's like I feel like every time I sat down to play, I was just like, I don't feel like learning patterns right now.
I don't want to have to not know what I'm doing.
It's so silly because like I wouldn't think of myself in this regard, but this show tests my patience a lot with the games that you're playing. Like, in my head now, I'm that gamer that was in the Super Nintendo commercials that were super cheesy when we were growing up, like with the guitar solos and guys like doing kick flips on their skateboards. It's
You
like,
were always that guy.
I know. Like, I don't think of myself.
You owned a Trans Am.
I don't think of myself as that kind of video game guy, but then like because I'd like to think I have a diverse catalog, eclectic tastes in games, etc., etc. But like, in my head, it's just a bunch of like fucking dubstep, AMV YouTube mashup videos that are super obnoxious on like all like the cliche games. And now I'm like, man, did I grow out of having the patience for this sort of thing, or did I just never really like it?
Well,
in the first
It's
place?
hard to embrace this game alone and games like this, because just because you don't like this game because it's hard doesn't mean you can't. Like, it's not. It doesn't mean that you have bad taste in games.
It's just a different flavor wine.
It's absolutely. It's an IPA, man. Not everybody likes it, but it's real bitter.
Well,
but
It's real bitter indeed. It's not
Sometimes-
an accusation of the game being bad at all.
And sometimes you're gonna drink it all night, and the cat's gonna pee on your bed the next day.
no, but Tom, like what you said earlier, where you don't have lives and you can keep trying over and over again. That's like, normally I wouldn't like a game where I have lives and it's this hard. And if I fail, I'm punished to start over again. Yeah,
right.
The beauty of this game is it's like, oh, cool. I can keep playing it. I can start pretty closely to where I was and keep trying that exact challenge over and over again.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
that's what I liked about it.
It's kind of like that, but it's kind of not, because there's like power-ups and potions and shit that you can get that are expendable that like you don't get back.
Right, but those are like crutches. That you should be able to do it. You should be able to...
I mean,
no.
there's no way I was like,
No,
I
but
fucking fought this like
okay,
this
right,
butcher
these
sword
bombs,
dude
you
for
know,
like
you're not
ever,
gonna-
and I was like, this fucking guy is
Nick
ridiculous.
just got like Moneyman over him.
Oh, you can do that.
Nick's monocle popped off and exploded.
here's what I'll say. You cannot like this game, but you can't say this is a bad game. Because
I'm
once
always
you
saying
do
it's a
that,
bad
then
game.
you'll
I
be-
respect this game.
Yeah, absolutely. See, then as soon as you say it's a bad game, you're coop. You couldn't hang. You couldn't play. So you unplugged your controller and went home, right?
Wow. Dude, Tom, that's some real truth right there. That's some super true shit right there. I don't know if our audience gets that reference, but I do. It's fucking true.
But I think you can still like criticize it
it
for what you perceive as its shortcomings, as opposed to like its strengths. I feel like
Yeah.
it has a lot of strengths, but for me,
no,
it has some
see,
shortcomings.
Nick,
that
I think you really nailed it. You appreciate this game, but it's just not for you. You know?
Right.
right.
Yeah.
I might be at a weird time in my life too, because right now I'm also replaying Ocarina of Time, and I really enjoy the water level. I really enjoy the water dungeon.
What? Who are you?
When you said that the other day, I was like half joking, and then I was like, I bet Paul's not.
I'm not
kidding
joking.
Not
I
kidding
wrote
around
that
there.
in complete earnestness.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that dungeon.
I did too until I couldn't find the last key.
Yeah, but you know now where the key is.
Nope.
Well,
Well,
you know
maybe-
where that key is.
maybe-
You don't
maybe-
forget.
Do you
where that
remember I
fucking
came
key
into
is.
the office when we were at Game Revision? I came into the office and I was like, "All right, I can't find the last key," and I
Right.
was like screaming and everything because it was like I was playing it late.
Wait,
and it
you
was,
were screaming about
Can
something?
you believe it? And it was like it was a legitimate thing that I didn't look it up. I didn't have time to. I just
Yeah.
came in and I was like, it was the last thing I was doing before I went to bed. It was
Uh-huh.
old school video game talk time.
Yeah.
It was like someone tell me where it is. And this guy we worked with, Timmy, was like, "It's under the last moving platform."
Yeah, it's not
Right.
fun.
And I was like, "Fuck you for knowing that, and fuck this game."
Right.
You know?
Right.
Well,
But I don't know. I don't think that that's a game. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's the Shinra Tower in Final Fantasy VII. That's not a test of your skill as a gamer. It's a test of your
It's a
patience.
test of your commitment.
Jesus
But I like
Christ.
that. See, like
I just had fucking flashbacks.
The
Jesus
reason-
So you were
Christ.
talking about the fucking
Yeah,
Treasure
I know
Chest?
exactly what you're talking
yeah,
about.
that shit was that shit.
Man, we got
was
some
nice.
serious Final Fantasy VII talk before this podcast. So now I might have to go play it again. I'm sorry, Paul.
No, I was enjoying it because similar reasons to this. It was sort of meditative in a way.
the boots and the
'Cause
hook
I'm
shot
just-
and the
I'm
switching
just-
is
I'm
kind of
just-
fun.
Yeah, I'm just wandering around and I'm like letting my brain work through it, and I wasn't forcing the issue with it at all. I was like,
Right.
hey, if I fuck up and I have to reset this water again one more time, I'm gonna do it, and I'm not gonna get angry about it, and I'm just gonna sit here and I breathed, and I made it through that dungeon in a single night, and I was like, oh, I can't believe I actually made it through that in one night, and I
Yeah.
was just sitting there like without any guide or anything like that, and I was like, yeah, it's because I stayed calm and I just thought about it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Dom. One second. In fairness
Sure.
to me, when I was playing Ocarina of Time, we were working at Game Revision, so I was my views was very short every minute of every day.
Well, that's
So-
it's funny you say that because that goes right into what I was going to say, which is we are at a different point in our lives than when we played video games all the time. When I played video games all the time, it was because that's all I did, and challenging video games were very cool to me because I needed to like figure it out and beat it, and like I felt very accomplished when I got achievements and stuff like that. Now we're all at a point in our lives where we kind of work every second that we're awake. You know, we've got shit to do. We're grown ass men. So like when
Most
we
of you
want
guys are.
to when we want to unwind and play a video game, we don't want something that challenges us again and makes us think a lot. Whereas, but I think with Paul, with the water level and stuff like that, it's making his brain that's been working all day work in a different way, and it kind
agree.
of turns off. It's like in 6 Days to Air, where he's putting together the Star Wars Lego set, the creators of South Park. He's sitting there and he's not working. He's just putting together this like giant AT-AT or something. And he
Funny.
says,
Don,
you
you and
know,
I were talking to Ryan this weekend. He was saying the same thing. He's like, I'll sketch. He's like, I'll draw all day, and then every like once an hour, I'll just take 15 minutes and do like a side
Whatever,
sketch that has nothing
yeah,
to do with
yeah.
like anything I'm working on. It just makes me feel more creative to come back afterwards once I've been like thinking about things in a different way.
I have a
It's-
big
it's
book
someone-
of. I have a
it's
big,
someone. Oh, go on.
Go ahead, you go.
I was just saying, it's someone else telling you what to do for a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a big book of like dot to dots with like that go up to into like the thousands,
Yeah.
and I'll just sit there and I'll just dot to dot if I'm like going crazy. So I
Yeah.
do a lot of dot to dots because I'm actually going very
I'm going to rip a page from Satch's book.
Yeah.
I took the Hearthstone like I can't even tell you.
Hearthstone's a great thing for that. I take breaks
yeah.
from editing with that all
Dude,
the time.
I
same
love
here,
Hearthstone.
and I can't. I mean, that's a whole other conversation. That might be a whole other episode or whatever.
Well,
I'm
Paul,
playing.
Yeah, Paul said it's like meditative. But
It
the
is.
thing about meditation is
You don't do anything.
it's boring as shit.
Oh well, that.
Yeah, no,
it's the best thing you could do.
Yeah.
But
Well,
there
some
are
of my
times when you're
best,
just like,
some of my best times meditating is going for a run.
Yeah.
And for a
Yes,
lot of
Dom.
people, that's work. But
Yeah.
for me, it's not, because I get to turn off everything and my brain just gets to wander.
Yep.
Yeah, you let your legs
You're
go
just
and you just
existing,
and you just
yeah.
think you just think about breathing and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still playing Warcraft, and I'm playing 3, maybe 4 days a week sometimes or whatever for a couple hours a night, and I've lost my taste for raiding. I don't even do the looking for raid thing anymore, which
Yeah.
is like the insta raid. It's like
Yep.
easy. Just
It's all about pet battles now.
it's not. I don't want to. I loved when we would do it, like, because four of us, not to exclude Nick, but just like four of us here would like do it like all the time. Nick played with us, but like when we would raid like all the time, it was a challenge. We all got to get together to do a puzzle and all, and it was a different type of. It was a.
You know what that was?
It was the mountain we wanted to climb. It was like this is the video game is the challenge, and let's do it. And now when I play, I kind of play to turn my brain off.
Right.
Yeah, and you know what that was, Mike?
What's that?
That was me and you sitting on the couch drinking beer, trying to beat a video
Yeah,
game.
it was.
Right.
Yeah, it was. It was just with 8 other people.
Yep. But we're drinking beer and chatting on Ventrilo.
Now we talk about Star Trek on Syndication Station, our sister podcast. and then the Hearthstone thing, man. I never played a trading card game before in my life, like ever before this game, like 2 months ago, and I appreciate the strategy, and of course I like the Warcraft element to it, and yeah, it's a video game. I definitely get a video game fix from it. But it's sort of like you said, Paul, I kind of get to... There's a different part of my brain that works on it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yo, I got Rag, baby. You want to come and play my deck?
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
Dude, Rag is an
8
OP...
fire damage at the end of every hand. I know what Ragnaros does. Don't worry.
Dude, a sidebar, Rag is an OP card. That card is ridiculous.
It's an OP card. It's disgusting. We were talking about Hogger cards before that. Different podcast.
There's one last thing I want to say about this game. Zach Bryant wrote in and said, the music was so good, it felt like I was at Dom's house while he worked on taxes. I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that means.
Well, that's what I imagine. When I'm doing taxes, I'm like, I'm at Dom's house listening to 8-bit music.
Dude, well, I did this morning. I worked to the Super Ghosts and Goblins soundtrack, and then I was playing this a little bit before I got on the podcast at work, and I was sitting there and I was like, man, I really like this. And then I thought, maybe I'm Dracula.
Dom, I missed the shit out of you, dude.
Oh, shit. All right, let's wrap this bitch
Frankenstein
up.
and play games with me.
I have no trouble believing that Dom was listening to that soundtrack, doing anything.
Do you know how many times he calls me and it's like, hey, I'm listening to the such and such soundtrack? And it's like,
yeah, of course.
Diablo 1 or 2 soundtrack.
Yeah, dude, listen to the Altered Beast soundtrack.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Country, dude. I want to play the new Donkey Kong Country because
It's fun.
The composer came back, Ray Wise, not the actor, came back and did the soundtrack again. I'm like, oh man, I haven't listened to it. I want to play it because I want to experience it.
It's got some good songs in it, Dom. I was playing it at John's. John and I were playing it, and it's got some really dumb songs, but it's got some really good songs too. It's got really bad ones. I've heard.
There are a couple people I follow on Twitter who've been linking it. Ryan maybe did.
Jampies
maybe linked some songs from it a couple weeks ago or whatever. I don't know though.
There's some good ones. There's some gems. Let's wrap this thing up though.
Okay.
We're gonna go around the table. We're gonna say how we feel about it. Continue or game over. Start with Josh.
I don't want to be mad anymore. Game over.
Okay.
I'm gonna spiritually game over, but I might try to play it again. Nick, if you wouldn't mind sending me the link from where you were playing
totally.
it, I want to give it another shot.
Yeah,
but I will game over this game.
Dom?
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say
sorry.
Dom. The computer's between Mike and Nick, so I'm gonna go give Dom
This
the
is
next.
Dom. Dom's computer.
Hey, Dom.
Hey, I'll continue for sure because I suggested it and I love this game, obviously. But I would super continue with any of you guys.
Oh! That's a Valentine's Day card.
Hey guys,
that's nice.
I continue you.
I love you,
I'll
Dom.
continue you.
I miss you.
Make those.
I super respect this game. I like what it's trying to do. I don't fucking have time for a game like this, man. I have fucking no room in my life for things that are like challenging and like hard and time consuming.
Because you're gonna have a baby, and that's what that is now.
I have like a million things to do. That's
do that
just like
your whole life, right? You don't.
I was young, man. I put
escape.
fucking hundreds of hours into Final Fantasy VII, and I played all my games like this, man. I would have if I would have known about this game when I was a kid, I would have rented it for fucking 3 weekends in a row.
Yeah.
But I don't like these kind of games anymore. I just don't like.
Yeah.
I want to feel accomplished when I play a video game. I don't want to feel defeated and like beat down. You know what I mean?
We're all dancing around it. Everybody,
I'm too fucking old for this
we've been
game.
talking about all night is Fez. We've all been dancing around it, and it just occurred to me when you're saying it, is like we're talking about Fez. We're talking about pixel art, feeling accomplished when you play a game, it being good in short doses, it's still being challenging or working on like another level.
Right.
You know,
I don't have that Zen-like experience.
I love Fez.
Yeah. I don't know. It just occurred to me when Nick was saying,
We know.
Yeah, we know. We got it.
I
heard about it.
I'm gonna. Thank you for quoting me at me.
Yep. Yeah, I heard about it. I want to hear more stupid things. Paulisms.
I'm going to continue, Dom. When you get back here next, we'll drink some beers and play this game because I want to be with you.
No, him and I are doing it. Didn't you hear him? It's our date.
I'll play with you guys because we'll have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Dom was saying, you want to play it by yourself because you get frustrated.
It's different. It's different experience.
It is.
Yeah. But I would continue. But the game overs have it. So we will play something else. We're not going to decide tonight on what the next game is going to be because we have so many members turning over in the next one. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a poll up. And we're going to throw the poll to the audience again and let you guys pick.
Yeah.
So we'll be throwing up the poll on the Facebook. So look out for that on there, and I'll link it on Twitter as well. So we'll be able to get you guys in on picking the next one.
Well,
Dom,
thank you so much for having me, man.
yeah, man, thank you for being on it again.
Hey, I miss
you, Dom.
Hey, Dom, I like the podcasts with you. We should do more podcasts together.
I know, it's like we're hanging out.
I know, all the time, dude.
Dom and I are talking about starting a new podcast with a friend of ours, and all y'all can be on it.
But
That's right. Yeah,
Let's not talk about what it is, but
I know what it is. When are you idiots going to be on the other podcast that we do? Whatever
I'll
that
do it-
stupid
I'll
thing's
do it
called.
whenever.
Yeah, fine. Good.
Ask me.
Don't
Great.
threaten.
Yeah, right.
We haven't done one in a week, so we have to get that shit figured out. That's all. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Who wants to fight?
We're gonna. Sorry, what's that, Dom?
I said, who wants to fight? I'll fight somebody.
Yeah, dude, I'll kiss you on the lips. I don't give a
Ask me,
shit.
dude.
Whatever.
Ask me to fight, dude. I'll do
Ask
it.
me.
Mike, thank you again for stopping by.
Oh, it's my pleasure as always. Thank you for having me on. I hope the listeners weren't too annoyed with me being here.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting used to you.
I like them. I don't know why they don't like me. I know you guys don't like me, and I don't like you. I like you.
And I'm gonna say no thanks to Luke for being a butt cheek.
Oh!
Wow.
He was a butt cheek.
Just one.
Luke,
one.
just one. There's nothing more annoying than one butt cheek.
Yeah, man.
Guys trying to work, make a living. Get real.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the ContinueCast. Our theme music is written and performed by Chris Connolly, aka DataCats. Check out his Facebook page at facebook.com/datacats. The ContinueCast is produced by Paul Ritchie, Nick Murphy, Josh Henderson, and our special guest, Luke Brown. Email us at continuepodcast@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/continueshow, and follow us on Twitter at continueshow.